सो कैसे हैं आप लोग? वेलकम you all in my YouTube channel Coding by Fun, and let's get started. So in today's video we are going to solve 10 number of questions, and these questions are asked in the company Qualcomm. So Qualcomm basically focused on the bitwise operations, or we can say bitwise logics. So let's see 10 question series in this video, and the first question is, we have to change all even bits in a number to 0. So what we have to do, we have number n and we have to convert it into its binary representation, and we have to change all the even bits to 0. So what I can do, I can do a bitwise operation, that is the AND operation with of that number n with a number who have 0 in its even places. So let's see the logic first. So let's say we have a number, let's say this 1 1 1 1 1, and we have to change all the even bits in this number n to 0. So what I will do, let's say it is of add bit 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and 8, and now I have to convert all the even bits, that is 0th 1 second, these are the bits, right? Even bits I have to convert it to 0. So what I will do, I will do the bitwise AND operation, right, with a number that contains 0 in its even position, and I will do bitwise AND operation. So 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1, and this is the output. So what I am doing, as you know, this is what in hexadecimal, its decimal representation is 10, and we can write a, right? And we have to look at the constraints given that n may be 32-bit number, so we have to be clear about it, that we have to multiply, or we have to take the second number, that is this one, should be of 32-bit, right? So if I write this number in 32-bit, then it will be 10 10 10 and all, and I will convert all the 4 bits, I will write all the 4 bit to a. So 32 divided by 4, that is 8 times I have to write a. If there is no any number, then it will be 0 0 0, and I will just do bitwise AND operation. So I hope you got my point. So that's why we are just returning n, that is the number given bitwise AND operation, and a this is in hexadecimal, right? So just we have written this thing in hexadecimal, and we are doing bitwise AND operation. I took this because of the constraint given is 32-bit number, so we have to be make sure that the number, if the number is of 32-bit, then we have to convert it also, right? So that's why I took this, and let's compile it. So we can see our code is accepted or not, and this is evaluating and yes, it is accepted, right? So this is in order of 1 we are doing this question, but there may be another method that we can do, and let me explain it also. So suppose we have number n, and it is let's say 30, or whatever the representation of it may be. Just take a random value, like this is the number you have, ignore it, right? Now you have to change even bits to 0. So what I will do, firstly I will convert that number to its binary representation, right? So at the time of representing that number into binary form, so let's say first I got this 0, right? And I will check, I will use the if condition, if this is even position, that is if I modulus 2 is equals to 0, then I will just put, or I will do AND with 0 of that number. and I will store that number, right? So if it's 0, 0 and 0, it will be 0, so it will be stored 0. This is not even, this is also even, so 0 and 0, 0 will be stored. This is not even, this is even, so 1 and 0, so it will be 0. So this is how we can do it in order of n time also, right, using a for loop and if else if condition, right? But this is the optimized way to do it in order of one time complexity, right? Okay, so let's move to the other question. Let me remove this part. Yes. So this is another question and the name is set bits. So we have to count the number of set bits in this question, right? So let's say n is equals to 6 and the output is 2. Why 2? Because the binary representation of 6 is 110 and we know there are 2 bits which are set. So what we can do, let me explain the logic, right? So yes. Okay, now we have n is equals to 6 and its representation is 110, right? So what I am doing here, I am updating n with n and bitwise AND operation with its n minus 1. So let's say we have n is equals to 110, n minus 1 is 5, so representation of 5 is this, and AND operation we are applying, so 0 0 1. So we are incrementing count and count is initially 0, right? So count, let's see, is initially 0, it was 0 and now it is 1. Now again this is while loop and is not 0, so this is n now and n minus 1 will be 3. Now bitwise AND operation 0 0 0 and then we are incrementing count, so count will be 2 now. Now as you can see, n is 0, so we will come out of the while loop and we will return count, and return count will be 2. So this is 2 is the count of the set bits, right? So this is the optimized way to solve it in order of one time. As you guys asking for the optimistic solution, so this is the optimistic way to solve it, right? But if you want to go with the brute force approach, then let me explain you that also. So okay, the brute force approach to find, so let's start with while loop, like while n, what I will do, I will find out the remainder, that is, let's say r is equals to n modulo 10. So let's the number is let's say number is 6, number is 6. So I will not do the modulo 10, I will do the modulo 2, right? So 6 modulo 2 is 0, that is I am getting the last bit, right? So if r is equals to 1, then I will do count plus plus, right? Otherwise continue रहेगा and I am updating n is equals to n by 2 now. That's all, and we will return count in the end. So this is how we can do also. This is also a solution for it, but this is the optimized way to solve it, right? So I hope you got my point. Let me remove it and move to the next question. So this was the second question. Let's move to the third question, right? Now in this question we have to swap two nibbles in a byte. So I will explain you what is a nibble, but we have to swap two nibbles in a byte. So let's see what are the nibbles. So let's say n is 100 and the binary representation of 100 is this, right? So what is nibble? The 4-bit representation is called as nibble. That is 0110 is one nibble and 0, this last 4 bits are another nibble. So this, as you can see, two nibbles are this and this, and we have to swap these two nibble and we have to convert it into the decimal form, and that will be our output. So what I am doing here, so the brute force approach that you can apply is just to convert the number into its binary representation and you can do the last 4, you can update that array with the last 4 bit, and let me show you first. So this is the representation you have 0 1 1 0 0 1 0 0. So you can do one thing, you can traverse this array from here to here and then from here to here, or you can, what you can do, you can put 2 variables here and here and you can just swap them, right, and increment the I, increment the j and swap, and then convert it into decimal form. So this is what the brute force approach that comes in our mind, the first thing. But in an optimized way, if we want to solve it, then we have the bitwise or logic repression, bitwise logic we have, right? So let's see that logic and then we will move to the next question, right? So yes, we have this, and yeah, so let's say the number is 1 1 1 1 0 0 1 1. This is the number, these are the 2 nibbles, right, and we have to swap it. So what I'm doing, first of all, I'm taking this number and I'm shifting it to here in this position. How I'm shifting it? Let's say I'm taking this number and I'm doing bitwise AND operation with 0f, as you can see here, 0f, and in hexadecimal 0 is 4 times 0 and f is 1 1 1 1. So I'm doing bitwise AND operation. So as we know, this will be 0 and this will be same as this part, right, 0 0 1 1. Now I'm shifting it to the left 4 times. So after shifting, this 4 bit will be here, so 0 0 1 1, and this part will be 0. So you can see I have shifted these terms here in the left, and similarly what I am doing, I am multiplying with, I am doing bitwise AND operation with FO, and then I will shift that number 4 byte in the right, means this will be here by doing this thing, right, and this will be 0, and I'm then doing the bitwise OR operation. So when I will do bitwise OR operation, then the same thing will be in the downside here. So as you can see, we have shifted this thing here and this thing here, so we have swapped 2 nibbles. So this is the optimized way to solve it in order of 1 time complexity. As you can see, you may get difficulties in the starting, like how we can think of this type of logic, but the time you practice more question of this type, you will get this type of ideas in your mind. You will click the question like, yes, we can do using the bitwise OR operations and AND operation. Otherwise you have a brute force approach, you can go with that, right? So I hope you got my point, and let me erase this and move to the next question, right? So yeah, let's move. This is the question, we have to set kth bit. So as the name suggests that there is a number n and we have the binary representation of it, and we have to convert its kth bit to 1. Set means 1, right? So let's say we have n equals to 10 and k equals to 2. So we have to set that second bit to 1. So let me explain you the logic. Let's say we have a n is 10, second bit means 0, 1 and 2, second bit to set. So I am setting that bit and other are remaining same. So this is 14 in decimal. As you can see, this is our output. So the brute force approach is that while converting, first I will convert that number in the binary. So I convert that number in binary. Now I will traverse up to the kth bit. This is the 0th bit, 1 bit, and kth bit I will toggle it, I will change it to 1. So 1 1 1 0, and I will convert it into decimal. So this is the brute force approach. It will take order of n times as you are moving to all the its binary bits, right? But we can do using the bitwise operations. So let me explain that. So let me remove it first. Yeah, okay, now what I'm doing the OR operation, that is if we have n is equals to 10, I'm shifting 1 k times in the left. So the representation of 1 is, as you know, the representation of 1 is 1, and I'm shifting it k times in the left. So k time is 0, 1 and 2. So 1 will be here now after shifting k times. Left, shift, and just I will do the bitwise OR operation with the number 1 1 1 0. So I will get the answer. It's easy, right? So by practicing this type of question, you will get this type of ideas. Otherwise you will not get. Initially I was also not able to think of this type of logics, but later on when I practiced a lot of questions, or I saw the solutions for the lot of questions like the bit on this bitwise magic, so I am able to solve now, right? So practice this question and you will get an idea to solve it, right? So let me remove it and move to the next question, right? So we have to sort an array of zeros, 1 and 2. So you may get difficulties while sorting 0, 1 and 2. There are 3 terms, 3 constant terms, and you can do it with the swapping, but it will be complex for you. If it is only for 2 variables 0 and 1, then it will be easy in using the swapping method, right? But there are 3 constants and we have to sort them, then it will be really complex using the swapping method. So let's say we have an array of 0, 1 and 2 and we have to sort it, right? So it's easy, just we have to apply sorting. So you have brute force approach to sort it, right? And also you can use the sort function, but the time complexity for that will be order of n log n. You can use this sort if array is the variable that is used for array, is the n is the size of that array. So this will take n log n time, and this is bad idea to solve it like this, because we haven't used our mind to solve it, right? This is just a what, a jugaad, but we don't want to do that. So let me erase it, and yeah, this is the simple solution that I have found. I have used 3 variable, count 0, count 1 and count 2, that will be used for counting the number of zeros in that array. If a of I is 0 in the array, then I will count 0. If a of I is 1, then I will count 1, and similarly I will count 2. And while counting, let's say count of 0 is 1, count of 0 is 2, count of 1, count of 0, count of 2 is 3. So I am doing what? I am updating that array with its initial index number 0, and I am counting, I am reducing count of 0, that is 2. So and updating that array with the term 0. So count of 0 is 2, so I will put that array, I am putting 0 in that array 2 times, and it will be 1 and then 0. Similarly, I am count 1 minus 1 minus, it means I will update that array with 1 and it will be 0. And similarly for the 2, so 2 will be printed 3 times, and this will be 2, 1 and then 0 using this while loop. We have updated array, and this is the void type function, so we just have to update the array. And this is how we can update, or we can sort this array. And you may have other approaches, but I found it easy for the beginners, and for me also it is easy to do, right? So this was the question. Let move to the next one. Okay, let me remove it. So this is the new question, and this is the implement str. So what is this? So we have given 2 string as an argument and locate the occurrence of the string x in the string s. So they are saying we have to do the bit, we have to find the substring and locate the occurrence yes, and the integer denoting the first occurrence of the string x in 0, x in s. We are using 0 based indexing. So let's see the input. So we have one string s gigs for gigs, and we have to see there is x, that is a far string in this s string or not. So we just have to find the substring, and you you may know we can use the KMP algorithm, Z algorithm to find the substring, but I found it little typical or complex to understand, so I found an easy way to solve that question. So in this string fr is not there, so we have to return -1, otherwise we have to return the start of that second string, right? So let's see here in this example, gigs is the s and for is x, so we have for, right? Yes, so we have to give output as the initial index of that for, so 0 1 2 3 4 5, so 5 is the output, right? So let me explain you my method, that how I solved it, right? And yeah, so we have a string s, it is gigs, 4 gigs, right? Second string is for, so initially count is 0, k is 0, k is used for this string to traverse and I is used for this string to traverse. So I'm using this for loop for traversing this entire s string. So if s of I is equals to x of k, so g is equals to f, no, so else count will be 0 and k will be 0, so k will be here, and we will again come to this I plus plus, I will be here, again we will compare, no, I will be here, compare, no, 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 now, yes, s of I is equals to x of k, yes, right, f is equals to f, so I will increment the count, incrementing the count, k plus plus, now k will point to here, if count is equals to x dot size, so x dot size of this is 3, so count is 3, no, so we will again go to this position and this will be our I, s of I is equals to x of k, yes, we will increment the count 2, again I will check 2 is equals to 3, no, again increment the I, s of I is equals to s of k, right, again incrementing the count 3, right. Now if count is equals to x dot size, yes, they are equal, and I will return I minus x dot size plus 1. Why this? Because I is pointing to this position now, and we have to return this position as the starting point of that substring's character, right? So this is what we have to do. I is currently at 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, 7 minus 3 x dot size plus 1, this will be 5, 4 plus 1 5, and 0 1 2 3 4 5, this is the fifth position that we have to return. So I think this is easy as to solve it in order of, I think, order of n time, right, time complexity, and using KMP and other algorithms that will also take the order of n time complexity, but it is easy, not complex to solve, and you can search for the KMP algorithm, you will get my point. So this was the solution for this question, and let's move to the next one, right? So okay, the next question is bit difference. So what we have to find the bit difference between the two numbers. Let's say we have two numbers 10 and 20, and the bit representation of 10 is this and 20 is this, 20 is this, and number of bits needed to flip. So what we have to do, the first line of yes, and the output in print the number of bits needed to flip, right? So what number of bits we have to flip to convert A to B? So let's say this is the representation of A and B, 0 0 same, 1 0, so we have to flip these numbers, right? We have to convert 0 to 1 or either 1 to 0, so we have to flip this one time, we have to flip this position also, 0 and 1, we have to flip this position also and this also, so we have to flip 4 bits to convert A to B or B to A, anything that you can do, right? So to convert that, what we can do, let me explain you. So we have number 0 1 0 1 0 and another one is 1 0 1 0 0. So either you can compare this both bit representation. This is the what the brute force approach says, right? Either you just make this binary representation, you make this binary representation, you compare each bit, and if there is a difference, if the bit is not matched, you can increase the count and you can return count at the end, right? But what we can do is just do XOR operation, apply XOR operation in A and B. So what you will get, so whenever there will be a difference in the bits, like the here 1 and 0, you will get 1 in the output in XOR. As you know the property of XOR, 1 XOR 0, you will get 1, 0 XOR 0, you will get 0, 1 XOR 1, you will get 0, 0 XOR 1, you will get 1. So whenever there will be a difference in the bits, you will get 1 as an output. So here 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, and now just count the number of set bits in this binary representation. I think you got my point. So let me explain you the code so you will get it easy to understand. So they have given A and B as an input. I have made another function check to find the number of bits. So I am passing that A and B here in this check function. Initially the count will be 0. Now I have made K and I am passing A XOR B, right? So as I have said previously, we have to do XOR operation between the A and B and stored it in variable K. And now just using this while loop, I am finding the number of set bits. So I am just taking the remainder of K modulus 2, and if it is 1, then I have to count plus plus, otherwise you have to do K is equals to K by 2. So this is what we always do to find the number of ones or number of set bits in our binary representation, and I will return the count and that will be our output. So I think it's easy to understand and to solve it like this. So I hope you got my point. So let's see other question now. So this is the other question, that is find prime number in a range. So we have given a range and we have to find the prime number in that range. So that let's see here, we have a given range 1 to 10 and these are the prime numbers as an output. Given range 3 to 5 and only 3 and 5 are the prime numbers in that. So what I will do, initially I will take the two integers or to the range m to n, right? Now I will traverse the for loop from m to n. Okay, now if I is less than 2, that is the initial starting point is less than 2, then I will simply continue from here. It means there is no any prime number, so I will increment the count of I and I will continue. Now else if I is equals to 2, then I will simply print 2 because 2 is the prime number. I will continue from here, and if I is 3, I will count, I will see out the 3 and I will continue from here. Why I am doing this? Because the logic is we have to go from j is equals to 2 to square root of I. So if I is 2 or 3, as you know the square root of 3 is 1.73 and we are starting from 2, right? So this may you may get the runtime error or the segmentation fault because j is not less than the root of 1.73 and all. So we have printed 2 and 3 and now we are going from 2 to square root of I. It means now I will be 4 and the square root of it will be 2. So at least one time we can use this for loop, right? So that's why we have used this method. And now if I modulus j, as j is starting from 2 to square root of I, and if j is dividing that I, then we can update the k as 0 and we will break from here, from this bracket. It means that number is not the prime number because the other number is dividing that and the remainder is 0. So if get not is not equals to 0, then we will just print that I number, because that number is now prime number. So I hope you may got it. So I use this simple logics to solve this type of questions, because if you you will search for these questions, you will Google it, just define prime number in a range, the code will be a little complex over there in the other sites they have showed. So I have solved this using this code, and I think it's easy to understand and easy for the beginners. You can try dry run for this code and you will get the idea, right? So let's move to the other question. So this is level order traversal, and this is the question of tree. So we have given a tree and we have to find the level order traversal of this question. So as this is the input 1 3 2 and the output will be 1 3 2. So it's easy, I think. So they have given the root as an input and we have to return a vector, a dynamic array we have to return at the end, right, of type integer. So we have defined a vector, right? If root is null, then we will simply return that vector. Otherwise we are using breadth first traversal, BFT, and you know for BFT we have to use queue data structure for storing the nodes data, right? So we have defined the queue. Initially we will push root into the queue, yes we have put, and while queue is not empty, we will just dequeue it, that is the front value will be in the temp variable now, and now we will push the data of that temp in our vector. And now we will check if root have any left, then we will push that into the queue now, and similarly if root have any right, then we will put that node into the queue, and similarly again we will come to this point, we will take the front node from the queue and we will put into the temp, and the temp's data will be pushed into the vector. So it's easy, the level order traversal, you may have solved it previously. So I think it's easy to understand, and at the end we will return V, that is our vector containing the nodes in the level order traversal. So let's move to the next question, and it is the last question, the 10th question of this series, and the question is reverse a linked list, right? So we have to reverse a linked list. We have given 1 2 3 4 5 6, and at the end we have to map it like this, 6 5 4 3 2 1. So what we are doing here, as you can see the code, let me explain you the code, right? And yeah, so let's say I'm taking a linked list 1 2 3 and 4. This is our linked list, right? They have given the head of it, so this is our head, let h, right? So now I am making two variable previously, that is prev, that is initially pointing to null, and next node, so next nn, right? Next node is also pointing to null. Now while head, yes we have head, this is the last node, so null here. Next node will point to the heads next, so this is now the next node, as the name suggests, next node. Now heads next will be previous, so heads next matlab this will point to previous, and previous is null, so this one is pointing to null now, right? Now previous will point to head, so this is previous now, let me write p, previous, and head will point to next node now. Now head will be here, next node, pointing to next node, right? Again while head, yes we have head, next node will point to heads next, so next node will be here now. Heads next will be previous, so heads next will be previous, previous is 1, so 2 will point to this position. I hope you are getting my point. Now previous will point to head, now previous will point to head, so here previous will be here now, and head will point to next node, and head will be here now. Similarly, next node will point to head, next will point to heads next, right? Heads next will be previous. This is the previous. Previous is this. Previous will point to head. Now previous will be here. Head will point to next node. Head will be here, and same thing for this. And after that, head will be null. So we will come out of the loop. This will be our previous, and we are returning previous, right? So we will return this previous as an head of this linked list, and this linked list looks like this: 4 pointing to 3, 3 pointing to 2, 2 pointing to 1, and 1 pointing to null. So this is what the solution of this, and I hope you got my point, right? So guys, I just want to say, if you like this video, you can share with your friends, and do comment if you may get any error, any doubt. You can comment down, and you can do one thing, like what you can do, you can subscribe to my channel, right? Click on the bell icon so that the next notification of my video will be on your notification bar, right? So see you in next video. Goodbye, tata.